Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Star Trek Rewrite Project. I am, as ever, joined by the single JPEG that is Lore Reloaded above me because he refuses to share his camera. I don't blame him. He's being shamed by the Technicolor lights of both myself and Miss Runner. Or Miss Gender. Miss Gender.
Excuse me. First off, Mrs. Runner.
Okay. I gotta explain that. I gotta explain that. Because I'm looking at my other monitor, and each of us have a label, and so I'm staring at what should be your name, but all I see is Klingon. And so the only thing that I'm reading is the word runner, because that's what's under my name.
I get it. No worries.
As soon as you want to explain why you still in my girlfriend.
Listen. She just appreciates a man with good lighting. Okay, that's all I'm saying.
Polyamory. It's fine.
Oh, so we are doing that. I just didn't know he was a part of our poly.
No.
Hold on.
You ever seen Caprica? Where it's kind of like that.
No.
God, no. Hold on.
What am I? Oh,
Hold on. Just relax, everybody. Hold on. Just relax.
So I actually do have wrong direction. I have the game actually set up so you guys will be able to see something other than a giant JPEG today, so that'll be nice. But anyways, I'm also joined. This is Final Fantasy XIV.
Oh, fine.
I am also joined by the Miss Gender. Down there.
You've misgendered me.
Oh my god. Today we're talking about Enterprise.
Why have I never thought of that?
That's you should use that. You should use that.
Microaggression.
I mean, if it makes... Here, I don't know if you can see the screen. Here, I'll show you what my character's wearing right now.
Yeah, I'm seeing... I can see it, yeah.
There's It's not by choice. It's the dancer class. Here,
I love it.
Kind of.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Lore Reloaded, where tonight is my birthday, and we had some special announcements on my birthday. I am now a part of a polycule with
Poly what?
And Jessie Gender. As you all know, Jessie Gender's been my girlfriend for a while, but we have welcomed Lore Runner into that. So go to twitch.tv/The Lore Runner and wish him a very welcome him to our
wish him a very you are also his girlfriend, Lore Runner.
See, the funny thing is, I just noticed they can't see me or you. I'm sorry, sir. Your camera setup is terrible today. I just want you to know that.
Mine or
his?
Oh,
his camera setup.
I told you it wasn't that good.
It's like I'm not meaning. Like, can't you capture? Can you not capture zoom at all? Is it just giving you that issue?
What are you talking about?
Your camera, you're not showing me or her, whereas I am showing me and her, but not you. So people have to have both streams up to get the full trio.
But they can hear all three of us.
I love it, guys. So guys, go to lorerunner.com to see me, and go to YouTube and just type in Lore Reloaded
to
see him.
5 minutes.
We have been dating for less than 5 minutes. No, we have been dating for less than 5 minutes, Runner, and already you're starting to fight with me?
Listen, I'm just saying that you're terrible at everything you do and whatever other stereotypical
and can you see
things.
it? That is a horrible camera set up there, too. I've just been having all kinds of trouble with it.
I don't mean to make fun. I'm just
should I
surprised
drop
you
my
didn't pull
camera
up
and
the
then
things.
only put
No, don't.
My channel, and then everyone has to have a different channel open to get the full...
That's what you're saying. They can.
No, we're not Disney. We're not doing that.
Oh god. By the way, did you get a haircut, Lore Reloaded?
I did. Thank you.
It looks nice. It looks good.
It's good. At least one of my girlfriends sees it. I actually got that today. Yeah, my hair has been just god awful. But
no, it looks. You look good. You look good.
You've been growing your hair out too, haven't you?
Me? Well, I mean, I just haven't gone to a
salon.
Salon, just because I've been living in cities, and I feel like going to cities during a pandemic, salon in the city is not the smartest idea. So.
I don't disagree. Functional Histories wonders what they just walked into. That's a lot of people. So I guess, do I do my normal spiel right now for everybody?
You don't have to.
Oh, by the way, Continuum Trek. I see Continuum Trek's in the chat. I hope you're doing all right. I saw you were in the hospital, by the way. I hope you're doing good.
Yeah, I hope you're feeling better.
I just realized he doesn't see me. I'm crossing my fingers for you. Because someone doesn't have zoom up. I don't know who that person could be, though.
Yeah, I don't know who possibly.
Unfortunately.
Someone's not even playing a game while they talk. That's just insanity. How could you do a podcast without playing a game at the same time? How do you do that?
I might be doing homework. That's what I might be doing. Right now,
I'm
looking for our sheet that we share, and I can't find it.
That's me. That's my problem. All right, so Enterprise. So another thing I was kind of hoping to talk about. We're on Zoom right now. I'm sorry, real quick. I do want to say thank you, Nemesis, for the sub. As always, I have put that towards Zelda LTTP. Thank you. So in addition to obviously restructuring some of the beginning of Enterprise, which is the main reason we're here, I was thinking this would be a good time to really sit down and think about restructuring like large-scale things, sea changes, right? And I didn't want to do any of that without input from both of you and all of you. So okay, Klingons. Let's start with that, shall we? I'm gonna make Reloaded.
Before that, we gotta give the overall thing first. Yes, we do.
Look, this is the MCU now. We don't have to explain jack. If they didn't see the post-credit scene, that's on them.
This could be the first one they've ever been to.
Okay, we're rewriting Trek. There you go. There's the summary. Now,
rewriting Trek. There you go. There you go.
It does actually explain it.
Discovery storytelling right here, babies.
Look, I'm just saying.
Discovery, you're gonna like the way we just.
We're just doing stuff. Still haven't seen Discovery, by the way. We're just rewriting Trek. That's how it is. We're trying to make. I like your analogy. I never came up with that. We're Babylon 5ing it. I'll go ahead and explain this very briefly. Babylon 5 is front-loaded storytelling. That means they sat down and mapped it all out in advance. Back-loaded storytelling is what Star Trek usually does. They made it up on the fly. Now, that's not worse. It's worth noting. You can still do back-loaded storytelling and have it be good. Deep Space Nine is a good example of that. But it's a different approach. It means you don't have the availability of doing foreshadowing. You don't have the availability of tying things together because effectively everything you're doing is improv, right? So we're Babylon 5ing it. We're front-loading it. We're sitting down and chunking our way through Star Trek and trying to tie it all in a nice, neat bow. Thank you for the bits, J. Meister. So that's the summary. We've already gone through Star Trek 1 through 6. We've already restructured how several things in the setting work, including transporters and replicators. And
how does all of it work in case
it doesn't matter for Enterprise because they don't have transporters in Enterprise.
We just cutting that all together.
Chunk, it's gone. It's done.
They do it in the first episode, and just like some poor ensign dies, and like, well, never doing that again.
Actually, in all sincerity,
disco writing, boys.
I do legitimately think that mentioning that they're still working on transporter tech and mentioning the limitations and the walls they're running into, I think that's good because that's part of season 1, right? Building up the Federation, building up what will become the Federation and Starfleet, and establishing all that. So I like the idea of actually mentioning that in episode 1. We haven't figured this out yet, so we're still using shuttles and stuff, right?
But there are species that do have transporters in Enterprise, don't you think?
In Enterprise?
Well, I mean, there could be other more advanced species that do, but not Starfleet, right?
Like the Vulcans?
I don't like that idea. I would rather not do that, personally. I like the idea that the Vulcans are certainly advanced, but one thing is... Okay, Jesse, I'd love your opinion on this. One thing I never liked is the Vulcans in Enterprise Season 1 and 2, specifically, are always portrayed as in the decades range ahead of Earth, to a point where it's actually a little bit silly that they have any of the issues they do. And that's my main issue with it. It's like they have super tech for the time. You know, they effectively have TOS tech in Enterprise, but it never matters. Like, it never has any significance, you know?
I mean, I like them being. I mean, obviously they have to be more advanced just for the setting. But yeah, I get what you're saying because it also makes no sense that like they just stagnated for essentially 100 years.
Mm-hmm.
By the way,
also, sorry, go ahead.
Just gonna say shout out to Pad. Thank you so much. What about transporters without range to reach a planet from orbit? So transporters, but without
that's actually not a bad idea for the Vulcan setup because maybe the Vulcans have like. Short range, short range. The wormhole generator, like they just haven't figured out the equation to stretch it out yet.
They haven't gotten the Spock, Scotty, Kelvin timeline.
They haven't gotten Scotty in yet. Yes, I can read your stuff, Cormac. I don't know if Jesse's reading that chat. I'm reading both chats myself.
I have both up, but I haven't been looking back and forth here. So
someone's back on Twitter. No, but no, that's. I
am honestly not on Twitter. I had literally just have both of your streams up. So don't give me that crap.
No, I believe you. No.
This is why this game is rated T for teen right here. This is the reason.
But no, going back.
Oh boy.
Hold on.
What is happening? What is happening right now? This feels. I'm uncomfortable. It's like we're watching your porn on Twitch.
Are you even allowed to do that?
Yeah, no, it's totally legit. Don't ban me, please, Twitch. I need to keep having a career, Twitch, please.
I forgot, what the hell were we talking about? This is the worst birthday.
Transporters, Vulcans.
No, Vulcans have always been generations ahead of everybody else. That's well beyond Andorians. That's kind of a part of their thing. That has played a part in most every series. So I'm not necessarily against it. That's just going to be a little bit impactful.
So what I'm thinking, I'm fine with the idea of them being ahead. I think we just need to shrink the lead is really what it boils down to. Them having mega super warps, TOS level warp drives that can go warp 7. They mentioned that in season 2. They can go warp 7, but they haven't been further. They haven't been left like their sector. Despite the fact that they have relations with the Klingons, let's not even get into that inconsistency.
But they have. They're liars. That's the thing about Enterprise. It shows that the Vulcans are hypocrites and liars. That's one of the things I love about it. Is that Archer is right. He's just an idiot.
Archer is always right. Yes, capital R.
He was right. He was just an idiot. He didn't really know how to capitalize or really discuss it or get it out. So
I mean, I just watched Andorian Ensign the other night, and like, I appreciate in that episode that Archer is still racist, but he's like right, but also still a little bit racist towards Vulcans, and that's portrayed as incorrect, which I kind of appreciated.
I actually have thoughts about Archer. I'm kind of saving those because I wanted to work on the setting building stuff first.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm just saying, I have thoughts about that. I just want to...
He is perfect in every way.
Yes.
And you cannot change a single facet.
God, I hate that crap. Sorry. Moving on. So, okay, we can have the Vulcans have transporters. I would rather they be limited in some way. The range thing's a good idea. They literally just, they can do like ship to ship, for example, but you have to get right up on them, so it's not really tactically useful. And they would still use shuttles because, having a ship in Atmo is just not happening at the level of tech they have. So,
maybe we need to take this offline, but I had an idea and a thought. I don't know if we're going to give away what season 4 is coming on, but I had an idea for that, and it requires transporters. So, are we giving away season 4 yet?
Let's not. Let's hold on to that for right now. So we'll leave that for later. It's not relevant for right now.
Well, yeah, I mean, we can still have everybody but season 4 antagonists, I guess. Antagoni.
Yeah.
And then we can come back to it.
I think I do understand where you're going with that, and I think I'm even on board with you. But let's move forward. So let's see. What have we discussed online? So we discussed the
also, by the way, I want to say Lee Johnston. Archer is, I guess, speciesist, not racist, against Vulcans.
Those filthy green bloods.
Mm-hmm. I mean, to be fair, pretty much all of Star Trek. There's the surprising amount of Star Trek episodes all the way up until like Deep Space Nine, and obviously Enterprise, where like it ends on the note of like Vulcans are weird.
Yeah, that is a thing.
Pad Parrot, thanks for helping the channel. Season 3 refit can still happen. Yeah, it can. It may.
Oh, absolutely. I don't see why not.
Anyways, sorry about that. But
what else about the world is going on? Since you wanted to take that over, my good friend.
You can do it if you want to. You sounded like you were distracted, so I was just trying to help. That's all.
I sound like I'm distracted. Thanks, buddy.
Why is
Look, I know you're on Twitter.
Final Fantasy there, by the way. There was
that. Yeah, I'm on.
What'd you see? What? Was it Terra Empire?
There, one of the HUD symbols that was there, like that was pointing down. It looked like the Terran Empire.
Oh, I didn't even see it. Whichever one it was, unless it's still there.
Oh, it's right now. Now it's above the giant monster.
Oh, that's just the targeting. That just indicates that's what I have targeted. I didn't even think about that. I've never even thought about that. That's funny.
It does look like the Terran Empire symbol. Anyways.
Okay. So.
Jesse just stopped a fight that was about to happen. Did y'all notice that?
I did. I see. I'm playing it.
She knew it.
She knew where it was going. I was just gonna punch him right in the. So I punched because I love. I punched because I love.
Overly critical of me for the last 2 weeks.
Listen, I'm just saying that you're awesome, and you need to acknowledge that more. Now, so let's talk. So one of the things that I really want to push for is the fact that World War III is kind of a big blank slate, right? We were just talking about this off camera. If you remember, in actual Star Trek, they pretty much specifically don't talk about World War III. In fact, there are some people, and viewers especially, who don't even know that the eugenics wars, plural, and World War III are actually separate things because of how vague they are and because of how infrequently they are. Now, we don't have to go fully in-depth on camera, but I do prefer the idea of codifying what the heck actually happened. Hence the idea of okay, what the heck actually happened? Now, I had a couple of ideas. I'll go ahead and share them, just for the heck of it. Idea one was Fallout. Massive, colossal collateral damage. Just bam, hit the reset button. The other idea was a very surgical strike to rip apart infrastructure, communications hubs, network nodes, cabling, basically destroy the infrastructure of society to the point where it can no longer function. And I had ideas for both of those, but Reloaded came up with a third idea, which is kind of a variant of the second, aka, what if the communications were specifically targeted to such an extent and point that society, as it functions, can't? In short, imagine if, I know this sounds like a silly thing to say, but imagine if you suddenly just did not have the internet or phones, just gone. Now, like right now in real life society, think about what that would do to us.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, and then you can just write your own narrative with it too, and people will believe whatever you put there.
Very true. And that is something, and we were talking about this on camera, in actual TOS, they even make reference to how there's so few records from World War III that they're not even sure what the heck was going on at that time. So this would tie into that.
And it kind of makes sense too when you look at First Contact as well, because they're like very isolated in that little whatever James Cromwell, Zephyr Cochrane compound that they're dealing with there.
Mm-hmm. And we have some ideas about that too, but that's for later.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later. But it fits even with what we've seen. So
that leads to I'm kind of on board with the communications destructo thing. It also kind of lines up neatly with explaining why the war actually wasn't all that devastating, relatively speaking. Oh, don't mistake me. The society was damaged, but not the species, if you understand the inference.
Yeah, I'm sure there would be a decent amount of deaths because of loss of communication.
Oh, yeah.
But that would be more like an immediate thing as opposed like there would be like this one big like week where everyone fucking dies because communication. Sorry,
yeah.
I shouldn't swear on your stream. But then after that,
PG-13 warning. Yeah, no, I agree completely. Hospitals alone, transportation, like plane. Imagine a plane trying to land, but it's not getting any telemetry.
Yeah.
Landing planes manually is a thing they can do, but
Would not go well.
Yeah, no.
But that makes sense. Yeah. Okay. I was just.
So World War III.
Actually, now that I think about it, I could also play into like some interesting dynamics with the Vulcans because you could do that, and then obviously what we're planning on doing with Zephyr Cochrane later we can talk about. But Vulcans come in and kind of probably help reset up that communications infrastructure, and so there's like this push and pull of like, oh, they helped us out of this dark time, but then people kind of still have a chip on their shoulder about it.
Yeah, especially since the Vulcans would control all the information. And I know that I'm not anti-Vulcan. I want to be clear about that because I know that there are people who are, and there are people who are anti-Vulcan. I just want to make it clear, I'm not on either side of that argument, okay? However, I do like the idea that the Vulcans of this particular era would be of the mentality to be like, I don't like this, Warcraft thing. Maybe we should remove mention of that. It's unnecessary, right? Mm-hmm. They don't need to know that Star Wars existed in order to function as a society. Let's make room for something more practical. And the idea that there's literally parts of human culture, specifically culture, arts, creative works, that have been lost because the Vulcans have been pruning it, not out of malice, but out of a misguided, if you will, desire to help. Be like, okay, well, hang on, let's use it on the stuff that's right. And we could leave that open-ended so the viewer can decide for themselves were the Vulcans correct in doing that or not. Because we could imply, or state outright, that the reason that the communications hub, the infrastructure of Earth is so well developed, as such as it is because the Vulcans have been pruning as they go, right?
Yeah, that could also play into if we do stuff like Terra Prime stuff in Enterprise later on, because you could even like say like, oh, that's because it is in a way like a bit of a genocide might be too strong a word, but it is a bit of a cultural genocide or whatever, cultural pruning or whatever. So it would add more shades of gray to the Terra Prime's arguments in that episode.
Agreed. What do you think, Reloaded? You've been quiet.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
Do you like it like the sun? I need to know.
I love it like I love the sun.
Perfect. All right, so
like looking into the face of God and him telling me that I am his greatest creation.
So these are all just kind of things we will probably imply in future episodes, but possibly discuss some at the beginning here at the launch point. I want to talk about. So forgive me. Can I take the floor for just a minute?
Well, first, Pap says that he thinks San Francisco should be leveled and make that why Starfleet is positioned there.
Oh, because it was the place where they could build because there was nothing else there.
Because there's nothing there. Anyway, he just paid for that. I'm not sure if I like that idea, but he wanted to throw that out there. Anyway, take the floor. Go.
I don't hate it, but
I don't hate that idea, but I would probably refine it a little bit. Instead of it being leveled, I would have it be a major military base, probably for one of the eugenics, one of the warlords, and it was one of the places that had something. I don't know what, maybe architecture, maybe positioning, maybe just literal terrain that lent itself towards communication interaction, and thus they built it on there as kind of a, no, really, we've rebuilt ourselves from the nightmare of the eugenics war, screw you, kind of a thing.
Right.
I don't know. Thinking out loud. Moving on. So taking the floor. It's my floor now. I want to... I don't want to say I want to completely rewrite Archer. In fact, honestly, all I want to do is codify Season 2 and Season 4. Excuse me, Season 3 and Season 4 Archer. So I had some ideas, and a lot of my people liked this idea. So I hope you guys do too. Super nervous.
I hate it. It's awful.
I knew it! I like the idea. Okay. Archer's dad was personally connected to Cochrane and well connected with the upper echelons of whatever we're calling EarthGov, right? I want Archer to be politically connected. I want him to be someone who is being given position because of party lines. Because what I want is I want him to be the buddy, and that's why he's been catapulted up the ranks. And I want him to be given the command of Enterprise in particular because of the fact that he is anti-Vulcan. Because at this point in history, I love the idea that EarthGov, Proto-Starfleet, are... I don't want to say anti-Vulcan, that feels dismissive, but you get the idea that they are, we want to be able to deal with this ourselves. We don't want to actually have you constantly holding us back and guiding us and blah, 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 blah. So what we want is to do it our frickin' selves, even if it's probably a bad idea. Actually, yeah, Sheridan and Babylon, I didn't even think about that, Wilson. Very similar to what was true with Sheridan and Babylon 5. He's in position because he follows the party line and because he's well connected.
I like that too, because then it creates a good arc that even feeds into Star Trek as a whole, where he's like, oh, he starts to become more like, yeah, we can work with the Vulcans. Vulcans need to be a bit less arrogant and asshole-ish, but we can start working with the Vulcans through his relationship with T'Pol and his friendship and things with that. And that sort of sets up his desire to want to create the Federation as well and like create these cooperative opportunities. I like that arc for him really well. That's actually really cool.
Yeah, that is absolutely part of that. And of course, it also helps to set up something else that I would like to push. I know this sounds like a strange thing to say. I was talking about this when it came to Sulu. I want each... I screwed that up. I want each captain to have a distinct and unique command style. And as absolutely bizarre as it sounds, I want Archer to be incompetent. But I don't mean that as an insult, I want him to be shoved into a position he's not ready for and have to rise to the occasion.
Yeah, I mean they kind of tried. They kind of tried to do that in Enterprise.
They did. Like I said, in Season 4, they pretty much stated that outright, and also that came up in Season 3, where he was like he had to make the big calls, and he didn't. He made the wrong calls repeatedly.
Mm-hmm. Well, there was another piece that I think could be interesting as well, which was have the Makos be a part of wanting to be a part of this, like strong-arming their way in, and maybe having that cause some issues as well. So the Makos start off in Season 1 and actually are there from the beginning. And I mean, Archer can be for or against it or not. That's not.
We can decide that. Basically,
concerned about that. But we still have Reed, who's has a big issue with it. But yeah, so and perhaps we could even tie it in and create some of the political issues where Starfleet wants to go out. They're having some issues. The Vulcans are really pushing against it. The Makos, the brass, see a real good opportunity to to stop being overshown by Starfleet, which has been really doing all the calls because of politically they've been the ones that had access. They see a way of getting their foot in the door, and so they come to Starfleet and say, "Hey, we'll back you on this, but you got to let us be a part of what's going on. You got to let us be on the ship, and we need a seat at the table with the Vulcans."
Mm-hmm. No, I'm on board with all that.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing I wanted to push, really, since it appears several people on board, so that's relieving. The other idea I want to push is the Sengoku Jedi. Now, this is very fresh in my head.
Hold on.
Yeah, what's up?
On both channels on mine. By the way, you got a little stuffy. I don't know if that's on my side or not.
Yeah, I heard it too. You kind of got a little muffled sound-wise.
Yeah, so, but no, before you go into this or you say anything more, I would like both people on my stream as well as your stream to tell us what that is. So say it one more time without saying what it is.
The Sengoku Jedi.
Yeah, so who here knows what the Sengoku Jedi is?
Don't listen to him. He's mispronouncing it on purpose.
Sengoku Jedi. Got it.
I see the singing Jedi. If you can tell me what that is.
So Skymart knows what it is.
Already got it. Yeah.
Hold on, Skymart. No, okay, that's fine. Can you tell me about that in Japanese history?
He's trying to make a point and he's failing at it.
No. Hold on. No, I just want to know what happened in that period in Japanese history, Skymart. We got one out of a few.
Yeah, see, look, there's both streams. Both streams, people are getting it.
Yeah, after. Well, he said it live, so I mean.
Oh, that's fair. Oh,
yeah, see, Rudolph.
Rudolph said the correct thing, which I'm not saying out loud now.
Let me see. Where did I don't see Rudolph saying anything
in your chat?
I don't see Rudolph in my chat saying anything.
Right there, Rudolph.
RUDOLF.
Okay.
Fucking. Sorry, I keep swearing. Apologies. The red-nosed reindeer. Red-nosed reindeer. Got it. Come on.
Okay. Well, that's not how you.
Dragon Sword is also correct. Wilson in my chat is also correct.
Oh,
see,
fantastic.
there
we
you
all
go.
we can all use Google.
You're just
That's
a plebeian
fantastic.
there, Lord
Google. Well, okay.
But I will nevertheless explain why this is relevant, because I will do so next year. The reason this is so much in my mind is because I already have this theory for the Enterprise Ruminations, which are coming live next year. Because, and they didn't do this. They could have. They came very close to it, but they didn't actually do this. What they could have done is, I like Reloaded's haircut too, by the way. The relevant part of the Sengoku Jedi is there's, I forget how many, like 20 warring states. All of them they're not equal, but the point is, like, if a stronger state over here, of course only people on my channel can be, if a stronger state goes after a weaker state, they can do that. They could try to take them or conquer them or consume them, but the moment they leave, they have basically opened themselves up to everyone else around them. With no one to watch anyone's backs, all anyone can do is kind of skirmish with each other, and it turned into this giant civil war from hell, right? Into this situation, two powers unified. This is Ieyasu, I think, Tokugawa Ieyasu, and Nobunaga Oda. And these two forces, they've unified their clans, and that meant they had an ally. And that sounds so pathetic, but it was such a big deal. All of a sudden, the standoff ended, and things started to move and change because one guy had one ally. Now, relevance to Enterprise. Vulcans, humans. This is what I want. I want this to be a near constant backdrop, especially to Season 1. I want the Sector 01 or the Beta Quadrant, however far out you want to zoom it out. I want this area to be a whole bunch of powers, all of whom have relatively gotten to the space age at relatively the same time. They all have warp. They have the same general level of tech and power, and none of them are allied, except for the Vulcans and the humans. And I want that to be the ball that gets things rolling. That's why I use that parallel.
Well, you were saying that, and it does make sense. Like, it's already a thing. So,
I mean, it essentially is. It's like an implicit thing already, rather than an explicit thing. So
that's what I was saying.
Yeah, I just want that to be an actual thing that we designed and actually state outright, as well as actually have it be a relevant point, rather than it just being a backdrop thing that analysts can pick up on because the writers didn't think of this stuff because they're stupid.
How do we state it?
So this beautifully leads into Hourglass. This beautifully leads into the first episode and what we're actually going to do with it. Because some dude who needs to be taken to Kronos is stupid, and I would really like to argue that we just eject that entirely.
Okay.
Thoughts?
Well, tell me what you want to do instead.
So, before I do that, I just want to share something really quick. Because while I give Enterprise some crap, and I absolutely do, one of the cool things I never noticed before, until this time through, when I was going back through the Ruminations this year, is I noticed that they keep track of distance and speed. Oh, and time, excuse me. Distance and time. How long it's been, and how far they've gotten. And they do markers like this. We've reached past the way the Vulcans have gone. We've never been to this sector. We're actually passing our outermost probes. And this is a backdrop element, right? It's something they mention before they get to the actual plot of a given episode. And this is near constant in Season 1. I bring that up because they apparently go to Kronos in the first episode, like it's nothing, and then go back to Earth in the first episode, like it's nothing. Kronos is way over here, by the way. It's not next door. And I know that's such a banal thing to be irritated by, but in my opinion, that has always interrupted the flow of the rest of the, the frontier, literally expanding past into the literal unknown, into farther than we have ever been before. But we've totally been here before because we already went to Kronos. So that's the biggest reason I want to eject that. Also, I think jumping on the Klingons that early is a bad idea. I think they only did that because they wanted the star power to make, to sell Enterprise.
It's like, hey, yeah, that's a Star Trek. I get it. It's a Klingon.
Yeah.
It's a Star Trek.
It's a Star Trek. Yeah. Exactly. That's exactly where it's at.
So walk me through what's the main protagonist? Walk me through that script.
Well, the main protagonist is this giant freaking gun blade I just got. Check it out. What do you think?
What's the antagonist? Why are they?
The main antagonist is this other gunblade I've got. Check it out. I got another one here.
Okay, well those aren't
really
fit
cool
with Star Trek. Those aren't Star Trek.
So I could come up with ideas. I could write this all by myself, but I was hoping to get some ideas from you guys.
I could do this by myself. Screw you.
I'm just saying, you guys suck and are terrible.
Yeah. It's like
it's just the worst thing ever.
Passive aggressive insulting here.
Pretty insulting.
You're only here because I bequeathed it to you.
I have bequeathed you this space on the internet.
I apologize. I was interested in your idea. I will then do my own then, if that's sir. Good. That Runner, if that is even your real name.
My real name is Runner. Yes. Sorry, I legally changed it because I love it. It's Runner now. It's not Lore. It's Runner. I go by Runner.
My last name is legally Gender. So.
Yep. We've got Reloaded, Runner, and Gender. It's great.
So you say that.
RRGR. No, GRR. Grr. That's us. All right.
Yeah.
No insult intended. I'm just trying to get ideas.
What is GRR is actually something, isn't it? I feel like GRR is something, but I forget what it is. It's like a game or something.
I don't know.
Okay, so anyways. You ejected the Klingons.
Oh, it's Gur from that's what it was. Gur from Invader Zim. That's why. That's what I was thinking of.
So we ejected the Klingons. It's going to be about going past that, but we need to find a reason to get them out there.
I like Pad's idea.
Without the Klingons. Well, Pad said Klingon transport is a season-long arc, not season 1 probably, but eventually introduce the Klingons, maybe a corpse instead of a living Klingon. Well, I mean, they did have a corpse. Oh, no, he was living.
No, he was alive, even though he didn't need to be, because Archer wasn't right.
Well, I mean, so why... Let's go back there for a second. Why are we getting rid of... Why don't you want to have the Klingons again?
Well, there's actually a lot of reasons, but allow me to ask the most obvious and overt question. Why have the Klingons there in the very beginning?
Well, there's a couple of reasons. By the way, thank you guys for sponsoring the channel. Just had quite a few people sponsoring the channel. Thank you so much.
I didn't see those notifications. I'm guessing you got something else.
Someone just subscribed to my channel, so thank you that as well. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, people are sponsoring, not just...
See how he just puts you down there? He's just like, no. People are sponsoring me. They're not just...
Well, no, it's
someone subscribed on Twitch, which is a different thing than it is on YouTube. Which is,
okay. Well, thank you guys. No, here's the... I
think Hourglass did. It was Hourglass. So thank you, Hourglass. I appreciate that.
So here's the thing: if we keep the Klingons, well, first off, one of the reasons is that the audience knows who the Klingons are. I'm not going to lie, but we could use it.
I'm sorry, the Suliban sell just as well. it's Klingons.
Do they?
That's true. They did have the Suliban right off the bat.
I have a Suliban action figure. I don't have a Klingon.
Does it stretch?
It legitimately does.
Oh my god, that's so cool. All right, sorry.
Yeah, it does that, and the other ones made by the company actually do not have that bendy arm, which is kind of nice. Like,
oh no, it'll bend. You got to work at that time.
Yeah. This is the same manufacturer, and her arm just has a joint. It doesn't actually bend like that.
Sadness.
This one's like. Oh.
It's
a nice little subtle thing. I appreciate it. They put some thought into it.
I don't like the people you choose to be. That's The Office for those who don't know. So no, but what I'm saying is we could tie it into the politics where maybe the Klingons run across a civilian ship and they attack it, and so or they do something stupid with it. Something aggressive because they're Klingons. That could tie into the Makos wanting to be a part of it. The Makos, because the Klingons are like, no, we'll handle it. We know who the Klingons are, yada, yada, yada. And the Starfleet's like, no, enough is enough. You've been holding us back too much. And then we can even pull the Makos in. Like the Makos are this quasi-military or whatever, and so they get that pulled in as well. You see what I'm saying? So that way we could do that. And so they go to investigate or to find this ship, and then we get into the exploration piece. It's like they use that as a justification, but really they just kind of just want to get out there and explore. And that could even create tensions between the Starfleet crew and the Mako crew, because the Mako are out there to be military people, whereas Starfleet really just wanted an excuse to explore.
Mm-hmm.
Not that they didn't care. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Well, I hate it, but let me think about it for a second.
I mean, I'm fine with it. I mean, I'm just generally out on Klingons in general. I mean, I honestly like the Suliban. Legitimately, I think we could focus more on the Suliban too, but...
We can. I just like, again, the Klingons have pulling power, and the Suliban, we can... it can be the Suliban, if that's what we wanted to do. And then the Vulcans could just be like, let us investigate it, and the humans are just like, get wrecked, we'll do it.
I think Laura
hang on.
Asleep.
No. I was writing the episode in my head. Give me a second. So that sounds so egotistical. Whatever. I don't care.
Yeah, man.
The point being,
you are on point. I don't know.
Listen,
did someone piss you off today?
Listen, this has been an incredibly irritable week, so let's just move on.
It shows, my friend. It
now,
shows.
I'm thinking that I was staring at a map in my head. The outer edges of the Klingon Empire, as in, when I say the outer edges, I mean the territories they probably shouldn't even have because they are so overextended. Okay, that's important. So the Klingon Empire is massively overextended, right? And this will obviously tie into TOS and eventually the movies. But they're just taking and taking and taking and taking, and they just kind of have this long stretch of unmanageable terrain, which means they're not as unified as they could be right now because they literally lack the ability to adjudicate. Okay, now all that's background, but the relevant part is a really distant area that they've conquered. Like the furthest they've gotten is effectively the furthest the Vulcans have gotten, and so a Vulcan ship or Vulcan science team goes out and is checking up on this planet where they believe they have just, their probes, their distant scans have said, hey, there's life here. Let's check this out. The Vulcans go, the Vulcans scan, the Vulcans find the Klingons kill the Vulcans. The Vulcans send out a distress signal, the Vulcans get the distress signal because, of course, they are allies. They share it with the EarthGov.
So someone had an interesting idea, not to interrupt you, but I just wanted to throw it out there too. What if the name of the ship, or what if we modified it just a little bit to Kobayashi Maru? If you hate it, that's fine.
No, it would just take some restructuring, which is what I'm thinking about. Because I don't think a Vulcan ship would be named the Kobayashi Maru. Nevertheless, if we could argue that, that would be awesome.
I mean, Kobayashi Maru seems like a Vulcan name to me.
It's
Maybe
the
I'm
same.
wrong.
I mean, sure.
Isn't it a Japanese name, or?
I thought that was a real name. I'll look it up.
Hey, if you want to look up what You want to look up the Bajoran currency and see what that's related to?
I can.
I mean, it's a fictional show created by humans, so yeah, of course. It's gonna be.
What's it called? What's the Bajoran currency? That came off a little bit more sarcastic than I mean. It's an actual currency.
I know. I
didn't mean it as
I got
as
you.
rough
Like people,
as it came off.
we're humans writing fiction. We're going to be drawing. When we create names for things, we're drawing from something. We're not going to be able to just go and that's the alien crap. I mean, some people do that, but it's not usually good. I'm just trying to figure out where it came from. It might have just been made up.
If it's just a straight up made up name, then yeah, let's just make it Vulcan Show.
I mean, it sounds.
I was running under the presumption that it was named after someone in real life, but I'm not finding that right now.
Yeah, neither am I. Oh, it's a historical incident. See, Kobayashi Maru incident. So it's named after an actual incident. It's the Kobayashi Maru incident involved the Japanese steamship Kogatama Maru, on which a group of people from the British India attempted to immigrate to Canada in April 1914. Most were denied entry and forced to return to Calcutta. But attempted to arrest the group leaders. A riot ensued. So it's named after a riot, essentially, which is interesting.
But here's my thing. The Bajoran currency is the Lita. Lita is actually the name of the currency today of Lithuania. So my counter to that, unless we're just throwing that out, which I could understand if you wanted to. My counter to that.
I mean, if you want to go that route, we'll just talk about Romulans. Let's talk about the Praetor,
This is so weird. I'm just sorry. I'm just now down this hole.
Okay.
Like it's a weird human rights riot in Canada. I'm like, why the hell did they name?
I have no idea. But no, I'm sold. I like it. So let's go ahead.
Is the Praetor like okay? So well, first, definitely we'll get to that. But now you got me interested. What's the Praetor named after that I did not know?
The word Praetor.
What's it?
Their planets are called Romulus and Remus. I could keep going. I mean, they're Romans. The Romulans are Romans.
Dude, I am gonna hug the hell out of you. You need like a serious hug, Michael.
No, I need punching right now. Let's do it. I don't have my boxing gloves. They're in my closet. So, yes, I own boxing gloves. I like it. So let's make it the Vulcan ship is the Kobayashi Maru. Okay. I love that idea. I do. I was hesitating on the name, but I do love the idea. So the first Vulcan ship reaches out to them. They find it's first contact with the Klingons.
Oh, okay, sorry. Anyways,
it's first contact with the Klingons. The Klingons are they smash them. They absolutely destroy them because Kobayashi Maru. So they get the signal out, and we figure this out, and this leads to the Vulcans sharing this information with Earth. We're allies, of course. We share this info, and military allies. By the way, it's important.
By the way, can I just to clear the record? Yeah. There was the Kobayashi Maru incident. I just had to know this, and I apologize for interrupting this, but I have to share this information. It wasn't named after that human rights incident. It was named after Jack Soward, who was one of the scriptwriters for Star Trek II, his next door neighbors.
Aha!
Which is way different than...
That is a little different than what I was picturing.
An obscure human rights incident in Canada.
That is definitely different.
So, anyway.
That is studying Star Trek history in a nutshell. Just all right, so... they share it with EarthGov, and EarthGov is like, all right, listen. They do exactly what you were saying, basically. Other lore, they say, all right, yeah, no, we'll do this. We'll take care of this. We got this. We got your back. That's the excuse. That's the reasoning. We got your back. We'll take care of this. We'll help you out with this Klingon incident and this random thing. But really, this is just them using this as an excuse. I shouldn't say really. Let me walk that back. That is a motive. They do want to help their allies out, but they also want to get out there and do things, right? So both things are valid motives and both things they're really pushing for. This also would further lend credence to my statement about Archer. This is why Archer is the captain here. Because they want someone who is fully on board with get out there and get out from under the Vulcan's thumb. So that's why they put Archer in charge of this mission, even though he's completely incompetent, in no way ready for it. Now, that leads to the episode proper, where they're like, okay, we're going to go out there, and instead of bringing a body to them, this is effectively going to be first contact, right? We're going to go out there with guns and not shields, because they don't have shields. We're going to go out there with armor plating, and hull plating is going to be offline, and we're going to try and deal with this in support.
Hulls.
Yeah, we're going to polarize our hulls, which actually isn't a terrible idea. It's just it's written bad. And
that work like shields. You basically
they literally are exactly written to be shields. I can prove that now. By the way, I've looked that up
and
studied that.
That's not how hulls work. That's not how polarization works.
And so so that's it. That's the end. That's the episode. That's them going out to. Now, obviously, we need to write the conclusion. What happens when they get to this Klingon outpost? What happens when they get out there and they're like, hey, Klingons. And so one of the ideas that has been mentioned to me that I really like is that the Klingons were basically first to space by what is effectively luck. You know, Mongolians, right? They figured out the archer on horseback thing. And that was just a huge advantage. And that's why the Klingon Empire is the biggest game on the board right now. They're the biggest player on the board. However...
I like the original one for them. I'm going to be honest with you. I like the original.
Mongolians?
No. Well, yeah, I like the Mongolians. I'm a huge fan of the Mongolians.
I like the original design for Mongolians. None of this rewrite of the...
I'm an American. I like everything the Mongolians stood for.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
I mean their original story, or at least their inferred original story, where they came from the Herc.
Oh, right. The thing SDO took and ran with.
Which explains what you were talking. Well, there's also some evidence, I think, in canon.
I would actually agree with you, but please
continue. That's why they're the biggest on too, because the Herc came. Yeah, it doesn't have to be exactly the way they said
it. Where the Herc again? Why am I blanking on who the Herc?
So the Herc are a species that probably came from the Delta Quadrant. Depending on how you want to look at some of the dialogue, they either took over the Klingons and tried to rule over them. And
right.
Overthrew them. Or it's possible that they landed and were peaceful, and the Klingons Terran Empired them.
Yeah, the Klingons were Klingons about it.
Yeah, it depends on how you want to look at dialogue. The Klingons say that they overthrew them, but these are Klingons we're talking about. So anyway, that's irrelevant to the point. What I'm saying is that they got all of their technology from the Herc, which explains why they're not really good with it. Like they're able to build it and stuff, but it's really they're having to reverse engineer it. They were given it too soon. And another thing we could explain, which would also explain them too, is that they use that technology to take over and enslave other species. And they could have taken over other species that also had warp drive, and so had them start working on their ships for them. So that even though they didn't know what was going on, they took over species that did know how to use it.
Okay.
You know, that's not a bad story. We should write something like that.
Listen, that sounds like a terrible idea. No, I like it.
A species gains technology, uses that technology to take over another species who actually knows what the technology is, and then uses them to make more.
Well, jot that down somewhere, because I'm in favor of that. But to return to your core point of something that I forgot what we were talking about. Hang on.
We were talking about the Klingons, and
we were talking about the. Oh, right. Sorry, that's right. I was in the middle of saying something. The idea was very similar. You know, whether the Herc gave them the initial jump, or whether they just got there first. So it's either luck or external influence, or in reverse of that order. The Klingons got to space first. That's the relevant point. But they didn't keep going. Like they didn't keep innovating. In the tech tree, you know, everyone else just leapt past the Klingons, right? And this, of course, leads beautifully into the movies where they are behind, and at this point, that's causing a problem. The Klingon Empire by the movies has fallen behind, and that's just, thus, you know, all the events of the movies that we've already discussed. So, having mentioned all this then could be relevant for Enterprise in specific, because this would mean that even this distant outpost, which isn't properly funded, and I would emphasize all this in the episode. It's a distant outpost. It doesn't have it's not the main military. It's not even their main ships. It's outdated old junk. And the Enterprise NX-1, which is the brand new Vulcan and human combined designed ship, barely manages to push back like whatever scout force they have there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Thus, we now show that the Earth, the humans prove we can help. We can be of assistance to you. Let us operate more. This will lead into the other season 1 episodes. The humans get a little bit of a taste of just how mean things can get out there, which will lead to a lot of things, including codifying why the Makos belong on the ship, by the way. That would be a part of that as well. And it would also give the Klingons awareness distantly, because again, they're overextended, but word and rumor would come back down the chain that, hey, we found someone that pushed back. And you know how Klingons are. So now the Klingons have an interest in going up here eventually.
Mm-hmm.
And
That makes I actually like that. Steal the line from Star Trek Beyond. Sometimes the frontier pushes back.
yeah, exactly.
But yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense, and I think it like sets up, and it kind of sets up into what we were doing in the movies too with the Klingons as well.
Mm-hmm. So what do you think, Mr. Reloaded?
I like it like I like the sun.
Do you have an actual opinion, or
do you like the sun?
I can't say it's just good because you didn't.
No, you can just say I like. No, you don't say it's good. You say I don't hate it, which is just like the weirdest way to say something.
I stare at the sun every morning, Jesse. I love it. It's
you and a certain political leader love doing that. Anyways,
me and a political who?
Never mind. Don't worry about it.
You have to tell me. You have to tell me what it is.
It's just the time that Trump looked at the sun during the eclipse.
Oh, did he really?
Oh yeah, he looked straight. He just like straight up looked at the sun without glasses on, and it was just like the dumbest thing and whatever. Anyway,
he should have said it was beautiful. It's beautiful.
I think he did actually. Anyways,
so what's going on?
So that leaves us with a few holes in the first couple of episodes, but I think that maps out the skeleton of episode 1 and 2. Are we in agreement?
Yeah, I think so. Pretty much sets it up.
So it's okay. So Archer's put in charge because he's a stoolie.
We should make sure. I just want to make sure. Cause I think you implied this too, but we're just making sure like that's going to put him on the outs towards the end of the series when he kind of goes against his political buddies.
Bingo.
Which will be an interesting sort of setup for him.
Again, Sheridan. I wish I'd thought of that, but yeah, Sheridan.
Yeah, it's a great little parallel.
So yes, absolutely. We need to decide. So let's talk about the crew. I think is the next major thing to talk about. Obviously, we need T'Pol. Can I just personally? I know I'm a prude. Can we put her in that robe she had in the actual? If you remember, that's the first time she shows up. Yeah, she's in this really cool looking robe that looks really good on her. Can we just leave her in that?
Probably not.
Can we just do that? No, hang on. Let's.
You don't
where's my sword?
Like sexy T'Pol? Come on, look at that.
No, see, okay. To be 100% blunt, I'm fine with sexy. I don't think skin tight suits are sexy. I think that if you're gonna have sexy in an outfit, it needs to.
They actually like put
accent
the fucking crotch lines on this. What the fuck?
Those robes.
That's so weird.
I love what they did in Enterprise. Now those robes won't work in combat, man. You got too much cloth there.
How much combat was fucking T'Pol doing?
You're hysterical. Hang on a second.
Combat was T'Pol doing? What name me an episode where T'Pol was like kicking butt?
Sure, Xindi War. All of the Xindi Wars, she was a part of it.
Yeah, well, she can like wear something different but like when she's on the bridge, she can wear the robe.
She can wear a uniform. How's that for a thought?
It doesn't make any sense for her to
wear a uniform.
I
agree. Why would she do that?
She would need a uniform. I'm okay with her not wearing anything if we want to go that route.
No, they did that too. They did that too.
That's better. And not on the bridge.
You want to get to Paul's butt crack? That was the first butt crack in all of Star Trek.
God, that was like okay. Again, I'm fine with sexy in Trek. Really, I am. That was just what?
Just got her doing the splits. Look at Paul doing this.
I liked how they massaged each other.
I was gonna say, if you remember, it was in the first or second episode, they have a whole extended scene, and the camera's like up here, just right on both of them. By the way, on both, it's like going up and down his abs, and then across her midsection, and up her clearly not wearing a bra just to show that off, and it's super zoomed in. And the best part is the whole time they're arguing because they can't stand each other. What are you doing? Because they can't stand each other. And I'm just sitting here staring at this scene like, what are you? This is what?
I'm not seeing a problem here, guys.
What is wrong with this scene? Anyways, so okay, T'Pol. On the ship, absolutely. If nothing else, a Vulcan representative flat out needs to be on this ship. Mm-hmm. Military ally. In fact, I would actually argue we probably should have more Vulcans on the ship than just T'Pol, my opinion.
I think they'd fight back against that.
I think they would too, and I think that should be like a thing. You know,
I mean, it could be an. I mean, I could see that being a small arc or an episode where there's like, I like starting it off with just T'Pol so we get some time to just.
Okay, I'm with you.
Relationship with Archer, and then like something happens. They screw up and like Vulcan's like, all right, no, we're putting more people on here, and then that becomes like a little mini arc, and eventually they get off, but Archer's like, I want to keep T'Pol. Like I actually would like it if like the whole thing is like that. There's a mini arc there, and then something happens, and he's politically able to maneuver like all the Vulcans get off my ship, and that would include T'Pol. But he's like, no, I want to keep T'Pol. And so that shows a little bit of a nudge forward for Archer, because he's like, oh, but I do like her. And I do want to keep her here. So there's like a little bit of like movement forward for Archer, where he's still speciesist against Vulcans, but he's starting to come around to like, I like T'Pol. So I think that would be an interesting sort of arc for him.
She is beautiful to me.
No romance, by the way, between those two.
Oh yeah, no, screw that. Yeah.
They only
I don't hate Trip and T'Pol, but I hated how they
Trip and T'Pol worked really well for me.
Yeah,
I'll give them that.
I wish they hadn't like bungled it right at the finish line there, but I do really like them. But Archer and T'Pol, yeah, that was dumb. But yeah, Trip and I actually really like Trip and T'Pol, but yet they got so close, and then like the final two episodes they just bungle it. But,
that's an interesting idea. Someone in your chat, Pat, again, just said in your chat, what if they start with, there might be a sound here. No, it's muted. What if they start with multiple Vulcans? They insist, and the Earth just can't push back hard enough. But in that initial battle that I was referencing, the one that'll be the climax, they die. You know, the Vulcans and probably several Starfleet crew die in the conflict, and that leads to, you know, a reassessment of, do we really want more Vulcans to die with these incompetents? You know, that kind of an attitude.
I'm not against that. I just wonder if that's like logically how that would play out. Because if you put a bunch of Vulcans on the ship and then they all get freaking killed because of whatever Archer is ineptitude over the mission, then that's like something where I'm sure that could cause a political incident, and it's like the Vulcans are like, no, you're not doing anything. Like, you just killed a whole bunch of our people. You are not ready, and it would be all. I mean, you could do that, but I feel like that would just put a whole huge it
would put a wedge there. Yeah.
Well, but maybe that's not bad, because there is a wedge there anyway. So, you know, an option. Hear me out here. That actually happens, and the Vulcans push back, and like, you can't do that. You're not. So here we go. We start out with Archer hating Vulcans. They go out. They do the Kobayashi Maru. Almost all the Vulcans die. Let's not have all of them. Let's have 2 or 3 actually live. Let's say they had a larger thing there. The Vulcans come back and say, you know, this is crazy. You can't do it. People are getting killed. The Starfleet and Mako's push back and say, we're now going to expand. You've started something you can't stop. And so you have both the High Command and Starfleet and Mako Admiralty just at each other's throats. And it's actually Archer and T'Pol that begrudgingly come together and say, why don't we explore a little bit? We'll do space that Vulcan has already been in, and T'Pol can be a representative. And T'Pol convinces the High Command, you know, putting it out there. They're going to go in already known space, known for us, not by them. And Archer can go to High Command saying, you know, the Vulcans, which may be horrible, we couldn't have won that fight without them. And so we'll have T'Pol with us. That'll smooth it over. And the Vulcans actually have worth. He actually sees that the Vulcans, let's say during the fight, the Vulcans, like, some of them give their lives so Enterprise can still, you know, so Enterprise survives. You know, kind of proves to him a little bit they're not just all horrible people. You get where I'm going with that?
I do, and I like it.
Yeah, it's not bad.
And so that starts the arc of Archer learning that all Vulcans aren't bad. I do think that the High Command and Starfleet should be bumping heads, because they always are. So this just solidifies that.
It also leaves us it gives us a thematic. How do I phrase this? The good guys would know the severity of the threat, because they've interacted with the Klingons, and the Klingons are the big bads of this scenario. And so they come back and they're trying to argue for this, and they're argued down, and so they have to do what they can. And meanwhile, the Klingons are in the background there. And they could be a background element slowly, because like I said, slowly, very, very, you know, the giant lumbering beast getting its forces and getting its supply lines and getting its everything moving towards this section of space.
And what could be interesting too, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but what could be interesting too is maybe the Vulcans are somewhat aware of it, or they think that might be where it's headed, but they don't tell the humans, because they're afraid the humans will overreact, because they feel like they overreacted at the Kobayashi Maru.
Oh gosh. That's interesting. Either way, you get the idea though. Like, it provides a nice looming threat in the background for all of season 1. You know, and also that'll be for the viewers too. You know, the Klingons are coming. Yes, winter's coming, right? Yeah, and that is a threat that they are going to have to deal with long term. And that could then serve as what is effectively the season finale is going back to the Klingons.
I like that.
So we've got Archer set up. I was talking about cast, but you're right. This is good stuff.
Yeah.
So
we have Archer. We've
got Archer. We've got T'Pol.
Justified T'Pol being there and help get her in.
T'Pol's totally in.
We started the arc with Archer learning that they're not all bad.
Yep, we've got Archer's arc. T'Pol's arc. I almost don't want to use the T'Pol learns that humans are okay arc. But I'm not sure, like, other than just grabbing her season 3 arc, I'm not sure what else to do there.
Well, I wasn't saying
make her addicted to heroin again.
Yes, let's make her addicted. I liked that arc. Okay, I'm sorry.
I have to rewatch. It's been a minute since I've seen season 3, so I'd have to rewatch. But that's all I remember about it is like she gets addicted to heroin. But
they do some good stuff with it, in my opinion. Anyways, so arc for T'Pol. We do need to decide an arc first. Just in season 1.
I mean, maybe she just doesn't want to be there. She thinks that she can do other stuff other than being a part of a Federation crew, and then she sees why they may be necessary.
Also, as a personal preference, can we eject the human stink subplot of season 1?
I liked that. I actually like the human stink bit,
but it. Okay, argue me down. Hit me. What do you got?
Well, what's your issue with it? And then...
My main issue with it is it's presented in a juvenile fashion. It's presented as, ha ha, you stink, but I'm willing to put up with you because cartoon.
Yeah, I mean, I get that. I actually kind of like it as like a subtle reminder that there is some differences, and you actually sort of, and like that would be, it sort of shows her alienness on the ship itself. It sort of like puts her at a distance and just shows she is always uncomfortable in this situation. It's sort of like a nice little metaphor for what it feels like to constantly be the outsider in a group of people. And so she's like constantly just uncomfortable. You know, like if you're, I don't know, a person of color, like the only person of color in a group of white people or something like that. It sort of kind of shows that in a sort of subtle way. And I like that. And it also reinforced the alienness of her. At the same time, I agree with you. It is done a bit juvenilely, which is like something to be said about a lot of stuff in Enterprise. It's sometimes very juvenile, but I think you could still use that, and do it in a much more kind of mature fashion. Because I think conceptually it's not a bad idea.
So you've actually changed my mind quite a bit on this. Allow me to give an alternate idea that might accomplish the same thing. Sure. We could make it be either sound, because sensitive ears, or temperature, because Vulcan.
So they're like Cardassians?
Well, I mean, kinda, yeah, because this is, and this is a point that I'm actually, oh, Jesus Christ, we killed him way too fast. Kill him! Oh, God! We're gonna die!
Are you Gandalf right now?
Oh, God, kill him! Ugh, okay, we did it.
You look like
yes, I am Gandalf the White. Alright, that was a little close.
And yet I'm the one.
Look, we almost died. Okay, we did. We got light out of it. Okay. What I'm thinking is words. I've lost my train of thought. That's so sad. I usually don't lose my train of thought.
Remember when he said I was distracted? Because I remember that.
Who are you?
I was in the middle of saying something and I don't remember it. So the relevant point is, I think
about temperature.
Environment. Just I think changing the environment around, making it kind of Cardassian, like you say, having it. Oh, the thing I was in the middle of saying.
I like that. I like the temperature one more than the hearing, because the hearing's a bit.
I actually agree. The temperature thing is a brilliant idea. Yeah, temperature, humidity.
Are we going to do the same thing with the Cardassians then? I guess.
I don't.
They're meant to be reptilian. I'm not saying it's bad. I was just asking.
I don't see why not. Was all I was going to say.
Oh.
But.
Am I coming off too mean to you guys?
I'm probably a little bit more armor up than I usually am today.
That's like an always thing.
Yeah, you are a little attacky today, but that's probably on me.
Then it's consistent. If I
I don't think it's new. You've always been.
I was about to say.
A jerk.
Well, it's just natural.
Anyways, sorry.
It's why we love it.
And I've lost the thought. Right, no, this is something I want to push for. I will be talked down, but I'd really like to push for this. I want the crew to be, and we'll talk about individuals in a minute. I want the crew to be all human plus Vulcans, and what I want is, as we go throughout Enterprise, I want that mixed. I want there to be more Like, okay, now we're going to add a Tellarite. Now we're going to add an Andorian. They don't need to be...
Start with a Denobulan,
Actually, exactly. I was going to lead into Phlox on this one. I like the idea that it's a human cast, a human ship. Because that's how the mentality is at this point, right? This isn't a Federation ship, because Federation doesn't exist. This is a human vessel. Everyone's species locked. But the idea of them branching out on that is the point, right? That's the whole Federation ideal. So I like the idea that...
That's what they were going to do with Shran and everything. And also,
yeah, exactly.
I love Phlox. It never made sense to me that the Doctor was the alien one.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like, why would you want to trust your health with the one species person that's not of your species?
I don't know. But yeah, eventually we start off, we could have a Vulcan Doctor. That's not a bad idea. And have the Vulcan Doctor be one of the ones who dies. And that could lead to them, what I would do is I would have them just straight up not have a main medical doctor for a bit. But one of their next missions would be, well, there's this species the Vulcans have already interacted with. We're not on super friendly terms with them, and the humans jump on it, and that's the Denobulans. Mm-hmm. And that could lead to the episode where Phlox joins the party, joins the crew, whatever. It's the same concept.
Yeah.
But I want to push for that idea.
It's the recruitment mission. I mean,
yeah, exactly. I want to push for the idea. The Dragon Age thing. I want to push for slowly getting these people onto the ship and stretching it out.
That's actually a great analogy. It is like recruitment missions in Mass Effect.
Someone had an idea. I don't know. I don't hate it, but we'd have to think about it. What if T'Pol was the medical doctor instead of the science?
Instead of the Royal Smart person?
Then she can wear a jacket and a robe, because they're allowed to do that in TNG.
That's true.
So then it's the best of both worlds.
I still like her being first officer.
I don't mind her. I actually like her being command line. I do. Whenever she takes over command, she's awesome. She could do both.
We had science and EXO with our boy Spock. Why couldn't we have a medical EXO?
Just because my reasoning for that would be medical EXO feels like it requires a lot more, and you're also not on the bridge as regularly, which would be, you kind of need to be for command level decisions. But that would be my argument against that. I don't mind her being something other than what. No,
science officer is fine. I mean, you could argue technically the chief science officer should never be on the bridge anyway. That was more a toss thing, but no, I mean, that's fine. It was just an idea. CSO and EXO makes sense for her. I like
it. So as a weird thought, you've got me thinking. I was going to bring this up later, but since we're already talking about characters, main cast, I mentioned this in briefing a couple minutes ago. Every time T'Pol takes command, she's actually really awesome at it in Enterprise. Oh, yeah. Especially in the seasons I've just covered. Maybe we could push her away from being science officer and just straight up make her command. Make her military. Make her one of the rare Vulcans who has embraced being a part of the military rather than being Vulcan Science Academy. And this, hear me out, this gives us an insight into someone who is a Vulcan, but A, is different than any other Vulcan we've seen so far, with the possible exception of Tuvok, and B, it gives us an insight into Vulcan culture, because now we see what someone's like when they don't go with the norm. Like, we could talk about how it's normal for a Vulcan to go into sciences. It's normal for them to become an explorer. It's normal. And for someone to actually volunteer for military service? And that's T'Pol. What do you think?
I'm not against it. My only other thought would be coming at it from the complete opposite direction. But
I like your idea, but let's throw it completely out the window and go in the total opposite direction.
I like your idea too, but the other option that I would toss out is she is actually not command at all when she first comes in, and is more the science person. But she's only the only after the events of the first episode. She's really the only one.
I think. Okay. Can I jump on that?
Yeah, and I'll just finish this thought, and then you can sort of shift it. But she's the only one. She's the only one that's willing to work with Archer. Like, she is able to make a connection with Archer in the first episode, and that's why she sticks around. And they come to that, like, they create that little pact at the end of episode 1. But then she slowly builds. But she has no confidence in command, and she slowly builds her confidence over the course of the series and becomes more of a commander. That would be my pitch, but feel free to adjust.
No, admittedly, my pitch is different, but the idea you gave me, and I like your pitch, by the way, but the idea you gave me is, what if, I want to use an analogy. Imagine you've worked in a McDonald's all your life. Hey, Reloaded, you're there, right?
Yep.
You like doing.
Imagine you working at McDonald's. Reloaded. Yeah.
No.
I know. He is taking shot after shot and saying I'm the mean one.
Nobody gets working at
I'd
McDonald's.
use myself, but I know my own analogy, so I'm going to use you, and because I know you, because you like cinematography, right?
Oh, I thought you were about to say you like McDonald's.
No, you like cinematography. You like camera work. You like, right? Am I wrong?
I do. Yes.
Now imagine you didn't know that. Imagine, here with me. Imagine you didn't realize you liked that. You still do, but you've never been exposed to it. And you've worked at, I use McDonald's, but it doesn't matter. You've worked at something else, and you're not satisfied there, and it's not clicking with you. And then you sit down one day, and you grab a camera, and you just start looking through it, and the shots just start coming to you, and you just start gelling with it, right?
Right.
Imagine if that
2 years ago. So.
Is it really? Cool. Imagine if that's what happens to T'Pol. She's science because that's what you do.
Mm-hmm.
Then she takes command during this Kobayashi, during this war thing, because Archer screws up or has to deal with something else, one of the two or both.
Well, and I think a good thing, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I think a good thing is maybe he has to trust T'Pol.
Ooh, yes.
Like,
so he has to put her in
something,
command. Yeah.
Yeah.
He has to accept her having his bridge, and there's got to be a moment where he's like, and he actually's got to hesitate, which is the wrong move, but that's the point. He does hesitate, but he accepts it. And then he's like, okay, yeah, you go ahead and get it. You go ahead and get it. And then she takes command. And afterwards, you know, she's talking to someone. I like the idea of it being Tucker, but just because they have great chemistry. I like the idea that she's talking to someone, and he's like, oh, it's pretty scary, right? And then she pauses, and she's like, well, no, that, you know, I don't know what her terminology. We'd have to work up the dialogue, but, you know, that gelled. That was perfect. That felt like something I should have been doing for years.
What's up? I'm
Alicia, what's up?
I smashed it. Talking about smashing Reed.
She's just like, as soon as she gets, she's just like all command, and then she gets off the view screen. She's like, boom, nailed that.
And she spikes it in the end zone.
I like that though. Yeah, that, I mean, I think that's similar to what I was trying to pitch there, which was like she slowly starts to develop a command presence of her own throughout the series, and it dovetails with Archer being willing to trust her more with his ship as we go through.
And yeah, exactly. Sheriff Yoda in my chat says, you know, that could be an arc for her in season 1. Is it kind of bothers her how much she enjoys being in command of a military scenario, how much she enjoys being a commander, and how much that kind of is like, I shouldn't think this way. This is, I am in control of my emotions. And again, this is where Tucker could kind of come in that. But
I like that too, because it's also showing her influence at being with the humans. Like, she's breaking out of her shell of the Vulcan shell, but also it's like mirroring in with emotions as well. Like, she's having more emotions. She's having emotional impact and experience with being in command.
Jesse, I found your outfit.
A space crack at that point too.
What?
And yeah, invigorating is a great word, Hourglass. I found your outfit. If you look at my stream really quick, this is you. This is you in game right now.
Oh God, yes.
I don't know what I'm looking at. So we've figured out.
Is that a bunny?
That is a Viera, yes.
Oh my God.
Here's her ears. In case
it's Final Fantasy, of course, it's going to be.
I never understand. The only I've only beaten a couple Final Fantasy games, and theoretically, if you don't count Final Fantasy Remake as a full game.
So Archer arc to T'Pol arc. We've got all that nailed down. Honestly, I think Tucker needs the least changes, really.
Yeah, Tucker's great.
Yeah, they got a great actor, and they actually have a great arc, and his connection with T'Pol is great. I don't feel the need to even touch on it. What do you think?
There is something I do want to talk about that I think we need to do more with. Not necessarily we have to in this one, but I will say that, and you know, it's really telling when you look at it, but Travis Mayweather is the Uhura of Enterprise.
Oh no, I'm getting there. I'm just going down the list.
I would really okay. That's what I'm just saying. He I never really realized it until I looked, but the Legacy TNG was not. They didn't really do a lot with their diverse cast that they had. It's really telling.
It is Travis. I am already in season 2 at the episode past the last Hoshi episode. And I have one more Travis episode, and because that's it. Season 3 and season 4, they are irrelevant, both of them.
Well, see, season 3, Hoshi gets her Beauty and the Beast episode.
Like I said, I stand by my statement,
She gets
ma'am.
her Beauty and the Beast. Oh,
Yeah, the creepy stalker dude
Yeah.
who like forces her to like spend a night in his castle, and he's like super creepo.
So this isn't
That
just
guy,
speaking of creepy stuff and stuff like that. Is why this is completely unrelated, but the ghost candle in TNG on Irish Land.
No, we're done.
Why do people celebrate that? It's like on Twitter they celebrate. They want that candle. I'm like, did you watch the episode?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You don't want a candle that causes you to orgasm and like weirdly.
And has a ghost.
Yeah, and has
and
a ghost.
partially possesses you and merges with you.
Yeah, possesses your
and forces you to do his will. Yeah, you're right. It depends on which side of that I'm on, but I might want it anyway.
I mean, I want my orgasm possessing candle. I don't know what you're talking about.
Take me, senpai.
It's just I think people celebrate it because it's weird. It's just the weirdest thing. I think that's just why.
Okay. I mean, it's just weird. I don't know. I mean, it's whatever. You like what you like, and you can take a.
I don't think anyone like unironically likes it. I'm sure it's all irony. Anyways, Laura's having an aneurysm, so.
I mean, it's Trek related.
I want to finish this cast because if you were paying attention, I was smashing out the easy stuff first, the big three, because there's always a big three, and it is Tucker, Archer, and T'Pol. And I think we've smashed out the big three. That's the easy stuff. Now we have to decide what the heck we're doing with the characters who get nothing or next to nothing. Because while Reed does have some moments, he's pretty dry. And
Section 31 him up.
I actually totally agree with that. I was going to completely suggest that. But I really wanted to figure out... See, the problem is Mayweather and Hoshi are kind of blank sheets. Like, we have a blank sheet of paper, but we can write whatever we want to.
A little bit more, but not much.
Yeah, she has a tiny thing that never comes up. I'm sorry, we talked about this with Uhura. Have her skill be relevant, right? We've actually talked about this before. Have her ability to understand and analyze languages be relevant. And I'm sorry, this bugs the crap out of me. This was really prevalent in Season 2 as well. They will bring in the language expert to hold up the tricorder.
Yep.
Which actively pisses me off. That they will bring, that they made a big deal about her in the first episode, and even in this episode they make a big deal about how she is the language person, and how she is this amazing person who knows linguistics, and they freaking have her hold up the tricorder that anyone else could do.
The tricorder. Well, no. See, I don't interpret it like that, and maybe I missed it both in the rewatch today and when I did the entire Xindi arc. But for me, the way I was reading it, the tricorder, the thing she had up, wasn't actually completely translating it. It was just getting it so that she could look at it and see it in text form. That's what I've always interpreted that was. I didn't think that was just a translator.
Season 2 is admittedly specifically what I'm referencing. Especially when someone else just does her job for her.
Oh, okay. Maybe I missed it because I've only seen... Well, I've watched all of it, but I saw the Xindi War, which she does have it, and she's using it there. And then I rewatched the season 1, episode 1 and 2, and they never directly, that I remember, say it. So I just always assumed it was a tool that helped her, not actually a translation device. So maybe I was wrong, but that's what I always... Or we could just change it so that's what it is.
Just make it to what you said and just make that concrete. Yeah,
and then Hoshi, like someone else... can see it, but since they're not a translation expert, they can't really use it all that well, you know?
Mm-hmm. No, I do like it. And again, I want her to be more relevant, especially since, I mean, I hate to say this, but she should effectively be either on camera relevant to, or off camera relevant to, every single alien action they do, all of them.
Right.
Like, she should be front and center for that. She should probably be the diplomat. Is the argument I was going to make.
Don't they get like the universal translator pretty early in that show? I mean, she's kind of tinkering with it the whole time. I mean, that's what we're talking about right now. But I mean, I would just have that be like the universal translator's not even really.
I mean, you remember the Snot episode, right?
Not off the top of my head, no.
No.
Well, the Snot episode is the ridiculousness of how far they go with the universal translator in Enterprise, because they translate the Snot. They successfully talk to it. They get coordinates from this thing.
Oh, you're talking about the thing that engulfs Trip and
random NPC.
Right.
Where they're like surrounded by seamen. I get it.
That episode.
Yeah. Can we go back to Reed for one quick second?
Yeah, sure.
I think his 3 arcs should be, or 2 arcs. His arcs should be security of the ship, Section 31, and then fighting with the Makos in the culmination to season 4, where he finally accepts them as a part of the family, or they accept each other.
Oh, okay. So speaking as someone, anybody who knows Navy and Army rivalry will appreciate that. So I'm totally with that. That allows.
So I mean, if I was going to do arcs with him, I would do those 3, and that's how he'd be written in this.
No, I'm with it.
Also, I liked him during the Xindi War.
One of the most underrated characters in Enterprise. He actually gets.
Well, I liked him during the Xindi War too. He really he was like the heart, or the heart of loss, or the voice of loss. Because anytime they lost people, it really hit him. Mm-hmm. And they had a wonderful thing with him and T'Pol, where he's just freaking out. He's like, acceptable losses are 5%. We're now at 20, and he's just losing his stuff. And this is right after he lost one of the Makos, and it was just hitting him really, really hard. And so I think that just going with that, because that seems to be his strength.
I agree completely. And I will say, just my personal opinion, I think Dominic Keating, the actor, is why. I think that's why he has such weight to him in so much of that show. Because he doesn't get as little as Travis or Hoshi, but he is written like a tier 2 or tier 3 character. It's just he nails almost every scene he's in, which elevates him. This is just my opinion.
Pad says he wants to make Reed a Mako. No, I want to keep him not being a Mako.
No, keep him a Navy man.
I want to keep him having an issue with the Mako. Makos don't need to be on his ship. That's a Federation ship. It's a naval ship. They can do their own vessels if they need something. And then that's where they come together. And then when we're doing Hoshi, I think, her thing should be diplomat and translator.
And I want to be clear about the diplomat thing. I do specifically want her. Sorry, I was looking at a picture.
Did you just assume?
Yes, Hoshi is now a she. I want there to be... I want her to be actually genuinely diplomatic and charismatic, like almost Picardian, right? In her ability to get along with people.
I think she should be I think we should go wholesale. She's the diplomat. It's not Archer. I mean, Archer can be a diplomat, but when it comes to this, she's the bridge between the ship and whoever they're interacting with. And when she's not, it's felt. Like Archer can be a diplomat, but he's not as good as her. And so when we have episodes where she's out of the game, it impacts them to a pretty good degree if they're interacting with other species.
Mm-hmm. I like the idea that like he's kind of gruff, especially in the initial episodes, and like she cleans up. Like there's just scenes where like she's translating for him, and you can just see she's like, I'm gonna clean up.
In fact, if I could jump on that.
We could have a joke with that where he's like, you can tell these stupid idiots that we're not leaving this planet until my dog feels better. And then when she translates it, it's like our captain is
and we see the subtitles. Yeah, we have to see the subtitles for it. Our captain gives his sincerest apologies for his egregious oversight. He is deeply sorry for what. I love it.
I'm gonna let Porthos piss on whatever fucking tree I want him to piss on. I keep swearing on your stream. I'm sorry, but it
but that'd be great. The subtitles are completely do that at least once.
I like the idea of that being a semi-recurring thing, at least in season 1. Especially if I had an idea for another scene. I don't know where we could put it, but Archer's being really aggressive in his tone and his body language, and the alien just kind of rewinds a little bit, like or not recoils a little bit, like what the heck. And then the subtitles pop up and Hoshi says, yes, in our culture this is a sign of great consolation, or not consolation, like apology. The middle finger is a sign of apology in our race.
The alien does the middle finger to Archer,
and the Archer's just like,
or no. We stop with that scene and they come back to another crew member and do that to another, like do it to Reed or something. Mm-hmm. I think would be hilarious.
And Reed's just like, and he's got enough of a brain that he just kind of walks it off, but there's just this, okay. I like that
as
idea.
They like every time they like walk by someone it's like they're walking through the halls, like going back to the ship, and just like
and they just
they go, and Reed just is like, that's weird.
We probably shouldn't actually have flipping up, but we could just be something like, like baring the teeth, growling kind of a thing. Yeah, just something. Yeah. I love it. So that's Hoshi. What's her arc? Do we have an arc for her?
For Hoshi?
Yeah.
I actually don't hate that she didn't want to be in space at all.
I was thinking in something
She was
similar.
interested in the techie tech of it, and like she liked doing the work, but she didn't like being in space. I think that's a fine arc. I just don't think they leaned into it enough. And I think you got to like make it worse, because she like because they set that arc. Now that I'm thinking about it, like I'm doing a Enterprise rewatch at the moment too, and like they set that arc up for her, but they kind of almost deal with it episode 2, and it's like, okay,
yeah, it's very early on. Yeah, right at the beginning of season 1. It's like the 3rd or 4th episode. She has an arc in that episode of oh god, oh god, oh god, and by the end of that episode, she is over it.
Yeah, and I'm sure they're just like, well, crap, we just did.
Well, there you go. There was the Hoshi episode. I hope you enjoy it, guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I agree.
I would just do that and make it much, 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 much worse. Like she's, space, like got a lot of space phobia stuff. She could almost be like a Barclay-esque. Maybe not as neurotic, but certainly have the same amount of phobias as him.
Mm-hmm. In fact, we could even make it worse. Like she interacts with a Vulcan. It doesn't have to be T'Pol, but and the Vulcan, of course, is fully used to this. So Hoshi asks something about, well, what would happen if this went offline in the middle of warp? Oh, well, if we didn't have the inertial dampeners, you would be immediately pasted at the back of your console before you would even be capable of recognizing that anything had shifted. And Hoshi's just like, okay, that's nice.
Or he's like, well, that's one theory. We don't currently know. No one's ever survived, so we don't currently know if you would fill every second of it or if instantly.
Yes, time dilation might come into play during the self-compression of the biological matter.
So it might actually extend out your pain for what would seem to you to be decades.
Yeah, and this whole time Hoshi's just like.
What in reality is 10 seconds would literally to the human mind feel like 10 minutes. That'd be
yeah, no, I like that idea.
Yeah, and you could kind of have that be a thing, and then she goes through. She gets more and more confident in it, and until like in the final season, she's very much like, I got this. We're good.
Now hear me out for just a sec. This is long term, but what do you think of the idea that one of the things that's like a regular feature that helps keep the ship safe in later shows, I don't know which, this is a vague idea, is something that is there because Hoshi suggested it because of her phobias? Like she was just like, why don't we have I can't think of something, but why don't we have such and such? I mean, how like Reed invented Red Alert, for example?
Yeah.
Something like that. Like, why don't we have this? There's no reason for it. And we could even make the Red Alert thing heard. Why don't we have a Red Alert? If there's a meteor flying at the ship, it's going to take too long to say shields up and hit the thing. When you could just bunk the Red Alert button and it automatically pulls up the shields and automatically deflects the meteor. And someone's just like, it's a good idea.
Yeah, good idea.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea, Hoshi. Just, I don't know, just random idea.
Yeah. No, I mean, I like that. I do want to be careful with not doing that too much with too many things, because then it's just, I mean, not that the NX-01 wouldn't be important, but I always, if you get to be like, oh, everything in TOS came from Enterprise,
Yeah.
One crew.
It's the small world syndrome, which we are still struggling with, because I do want to connect many things, but not too many things. So we're just kind of.
Yeah. I mean, that just happens naturally when you're building this stuff out like this, but yeah. You just gotta be careful with it.
Pad says the Trinity model hurts Trek. The ensemble should be all equal. Admiral Saval says, love your vids. Well, my vids loved you, Admiral Saval. My vids loved you.
I actually agree with the Trinity thing. I mean, that's always been a problem, but I never noticed it that hard until I went through TOS, and oh my god.
It's a problem. It's in all of them.
It is in all of them, but it is so stark in TOS. It's insane.
I think it's least in DS9 and Voyager.
I was going to say DS9 is probably the one where it's least of a problem.
I would agree with Voyager, actually. They give a lot of characters a lot of room on Voyager to have episodes to themselves.
Well, what would be the Trinity on Voyager? I couldn't even name it. Like
Janeway 7.
And
Doctor?
I would say the Doctor. For the
I guess it would be Janeway, Doctor, and 7.
Yeah.
Anyways. Which is still medical command and science.
It is. Oh, I never even thought about that.
Yeah.
Oh my god, you're absolutely right. So we've given Hoshi an arc, we've given her personality. That leaves I can't think of his freaking name.
Mayweather.
I kept wanting to say Mr. Travis, and I just kept stumbling over it. Mr. Mayweather. Now, okay, so his one and only character archetype in the actual show is that he has been to space before. The actual writers have flat out admitted that that was a mistake. Like, they thought it was a neat idea, and then they immediately had no idea what to do with it because everything that was new to them was not new to him, and then that was it. Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. It's... I think you got to do something else with them, because the idea, I like the idea of there being boomers as like a thing, and I don't mind that perspective, but it is kind of true. It's like it's weird. It's weird to have him be the ensign too, because it's like he is more experienced, and yet he's also the freshest as well. So it's like it's kind of like this weird tug and pull of like he should be the one to be like, yeah, this is what you do in this situation. We've totally dealt with this before, but he's not going to do that because he's the ensign. He has to be kind of like the, oh yeah, how do I, I'm not in the, he's always going to Archer for advice in those episodes and everything. So it's like it kind of is counterintuitive to what he's supposed to be doing.
What if we make him? What if we disco him up a little bit and we make him into, what's that chick's name with the bionic eye?
Detmer.
Yeah. What if we Detmer him up where he is a pilot? We'll put him as a lieutenant. He's a pilot, and when it comes to everything piloting, he knows his stuff. He knows what's to do. We could even do it where the pods are a little bit more tactically inclined, because these are humans after all, and they're going out, especially with the rewrite, how they're a little bit more aggressive. So we could give him the role of keeping the ship, you being the pilot of the ship, and he could also, when there are things to be done, he's the guy you use, because they're not going to be using transporters, right? So he'll have a lot of time doing that. Give him kind of like a fighter pilot type arc.
I don't hate that, but I always feel that that's overused, of like because you have that with Detmer, you have that with Tom Paris to a degree too, of the like macho-esque fighter pilot person.
I mean, it's a vital part of the ship, though.
No, it is. I'm just saying that personality type is somewhat overused for pilots, in my opinion.
Well, but we could throw it away. Maybe he doesn't have the macho type. Maybe he's as laid back as he usually is, because he's laid back. The 5 minutes of the entirety of the series that he's in, the 5 minutes of it, he's pretty laid back in all of those. So we could keep that person out. In fact, that could be a thing. People who are used to the pilots of the ships being boisterous and him being more laid back could be a thing for him. It could be something that comes up.
Idea. I'm not disagreeing with anything. I have an additional on top of this. What if he doesn't want to be here? And I'm not sure why he's here exactly. Like, maybe he's been coerced, maybe it's just he recognizes the need of it, but he actively does not want to be on a military ship. He does actively not want to be a part of this exploration thing. He wants to be back with his family, hauling crate and racing for fun, and not being a part of this. And then part of his arc is recognizing the value and strength of something like this kind of a unified force and becoming a believer in Starfleet.
I got. Oh, okay. All right, well,
I'll go after you. I'll go after you, Jesse. Go ahead.
I got a possible concept. What if he grew up as a boomer? And we could also set this up as like an interesting mystery with him going forward, because they kind of set it up too with like, I think his mother or something goes missing at one point in it.
The transporter incident episode. I don't know what we're talking about.
Yeah. But what if he grew up as a boomer, but then relatively close, he's like teenager, he's like 15, 16. His ship gets blown up, or his family gets killed, or they mysteriously disappear, and he manages to survive. And he has to go back to Earth, and he hates it on Earth. And the only way he can really, because he has family back on Earth, and the only way he can really get back out into space, the place where he really wants to be, is going through the military and going through Starfleet. And he doesn't like it, but he's like, this is the only way I could like live the life that I want to, that I like get some semblance of life I wanted to have.
And that can get across that resentment I want in there, because that needs to be part of his early arc. It's like, he puts up with it, but
yeah, and then that also sets up like you could have an episode where we sort of figure, like if we set up like kind of a loose mystery with his family having disappeared, you could have like an episode where it's like, oh yeah, my mother shows up, whatever, there's some mystery there or whatever.
Yeah. So Reloaded.
Another idea. I don't hate that. We can go with that one. Another idea. What I was thinking is maybe with United Earth, we're moving it more towards the utopian government control of everything, but they still have these capitalist pieces or points. And so to get favorable contracts, they need a really good pilot. They know he's a really good pilot, and he's what they need. And so they offer to give his family like choice contracts or whatever if he will agree to do a 5-year mission or something like that. That's just another option.
It feels weird, like trading family stuff that I don't like. Yeah, we'll put your son into our indentured servitude, and we'll give your family like that's weird.
Wait a second. Are you saying that the United Earth was doing something bad? I wait, what?
No, I just feel like it's a weird implication, especially to do with your like person of color cast member too. But the other thing too, the reason I also kind of like the idea of him like being resentful though of being in Starfleet is it kind of could match his sort of laid back personality. What if he like does not give a care at all about chain of command and stuff? And so
yeah, that's exactly what made me think about it. You were talking about how laid back he is, and I'm sitting here thinking, well, let's give up a why, right? Like, why is it he's so laid back? And that was just the first thing that popped in my mind. I keep hitting that word resentment, but I think it's a good word. Let me. Do you mind if I modify your idea a bit, Mr. Reloaded?
Sure.
What if you can make it capitalist or not, but as much as I hate to do this, one of the things that I speak so positively about Star Trek Deep Space Nine in specific is that it did a good job with connections between characters. Not just the characters themselves, but how they interact with each other. And it built connections over time. You know, the one between Nog and Sisko is a perfect example of this, but you know what I refer to. Mm-hmm. What if we build a connection of Section 31 between Reed and Travis? What if the specific group that has ensured that this very dangerous, totally unheard of human operation, which is necessary for the future of the species, has the best pilot that there is on board, was Section 31?
Right.
And they're the ones who specifically do the blackmail in order to ensure that he takes.
It doesn't have to be blackmail. So I don't want to get it off wrong. So he doesn't have to. My only point was he didn't have to do it. It's just like, well, if you sign up for this mission, we'll do that. I mean, you don't have to if you don't want to, but if you want your family to, get looked at more, we don't have to do that at all. But I mean, it's an idea as well. Having Section 31 do it, or with Jesse's idea, it would work as well, I think.
And to further add this, though, I want to be clear. While Reed, so the reason this is the connecting point is because obviously they both have connections to Section 31, but both of them kind of agree about Section 31 in their own ways. Like, Reed is, well, okay, it's necessary, because that's always his attitude, right? The pragmatism. But he's not really embracing of it, which then allows him to reach out to Travis, who certainly is not embracing it. He's kind of and that just kind of builds between the two as they just kind of it serves as the initial bonding unit, for lack of a better way to phrase that. Thought.
I don't hate it. Yeah,
you're saying it too. Everyone's saying it. No, it's just I don't hate. It's not the worst idea I've ever heard in the history of the universe, but.
I mean, it's a good thing. Okay. It's not a bad thing. Saying I don't hate something is not negative.
Yeah, I'm not down on it. I'm not like, yeah, it's the best thing, but I don't hate it. I think it's good. Yeah.
Indie Tiger says Mayweather should have been a foil for T'Pol on occasion. T'Pol says something, then Mayweather says, with respect, that's not been my experience.
What's funny is I was thinking of the exact same thing in a totally different direction. I was thinking that I was going to build a connecting point between Mayweather and T'Pol as well. It's just my connecting point was going to be he has absolutely no respect for her as a commander, and she needs to learn how to command people who do not respect you, because that is part of being a commander. And thus, in so doing, she earns his respect over time, and thus the two, bond over that.
But and also she could also be what pushes him to be a little bit more into Starfleet and being a little bit more in the chain of command structure.
Yeah, chain of command does exist for a good reason, and I like the idea of him basically being smacked in the face with that via her.
Yeah, I like that. That's like you could draw out a few concepts out of that, which would be kind of nice.
So Pad's idea is
I also might need to head out soon because it's hitting 5 and
it is getting kind of late-ish. But the characters were the last things I want to hit. That's why I've been kind of pushing to discuss said characters.
Is there anyone else that we needed to talk about though?
Well, we didn't discuss Phlox yet, but I'm okay with that because I don't want him to be on the show yet.
Yeah, I'm okay with it too. I mean, I don't really want to change him all that. We can give him a better arc than. I mean, he doesn't have much of an arc.
He has an arc? Yeah. His arc, for those of you wondering, his arc is he's an alien. Now, they do good stuff with that, credit where credit is due. But that is Phlox's. It's not an arc. It's his characterization. He is an alien, and that is his character. And I'm fine with that, but we could add an arc there somewhere. But later, he's not here yet.
What if Travis isn't in the first episode? He's recruited from the closest cargo vessel. The only way that I'd see that working is if maybe their pilot died, and then they could bring him on. I don't know. That's just an extra layer. I'm not sure that I'd add.
I don't think I like that personally, if for no other reason than it would require a total restructuring of half the other stuff we've already done. Like, for example, all of the blackmail / bribery doesn't exist if it's some random guy who was the backup option. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it also kind of changes the tone from we're sending out our best to deal with this unknown threat to we are desperate and doing everything we can to throw anything we have at this unknown threat. Now that's not necessarily bad. You can see how it would require restructuring to do that.
Yeah. But yeah, I might need to call it. Yeah.
No, that's cool. We can call it here. Let's do it.
Okay.
That has been Enterprise, ladies and gentlemen, with the amazing. I was gonna make a joke and I screwed it up.
Just misgender me. It's fine.
Oh my god. Yeah, go ahead and do your chop off thing before I do mine because I gotta send someone else.
Guys, don't forget to check out Jessie Gender by typing it in the search bar. She is killing it, gaining lots of people, putting out some great videos. Also has a Christmas video coming out.
Holy crap.
Yep, Christmas video is coming out in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 2 weeks.
You guys need to stay
Also,
tuned.
actually, if I may promote one thing, I actually spoke to I have an interview tomorrow it's going up tomorrow with Ian Alexander, who plays Gray in Star Trek Discovery. We chatted yesterday, and the interview's going up tomorrow.
Nice.
So check that stuff out. Don't forget to check out Lore Runner by going to lorerunner.com. And thanks so much. Been a great birthday. I'll see you on the next Lore Reloaded.
And on my end, I will go ahead and say, obviously, you should totally check out these two people. They're awesome. Even though her name isn't Klingon. Did anybody notice her name isn't Klingon? I'm actually curious. Did anyone catch that? I'm idly wondering. We will not be streaming tomorrow at all. We have I'm not going to tell you what, don't ask, but I'm going to be dealing with stuff, so there will be no stream tomorrow. However, we will be continuing the Final Fantasy XIV premiere run, patch premiere run Tuesday, probably finishing it Wednesday. We are not playing Cyberpunk until the exact date is the 18th is when we're starting the Cyberpunk run. So for anybody curious about that, that's when we're doing that. Otherwise, that's all I've got, and I will see most of you guys Tuesday.